has that relative or friend who is absolutely impossible to buy a present for. They either already have it, don't want it, or prefer a different color. Instead of grinching them completely, there is actually one foolproof gift that everyone always loves. It's food. But not just any food will do. You need just the right kind. Hey there, I'm Lynn Brazil from Evolving Table, and today we are giving the gift of food in the form of these spiced pecans. We'll be cooking up both a sweet cinnamon and sugar recipe as well as a savory version with a bit of a spicy kick. If you're ready to get to roasting, then come on in and let's get started. Preheat your oven to 300 degrees. For both of these recipes, you'll need 1 pound of raw pecans, or roughly 4 cups. Double check the label to make sure they are not already roasted and they are indeed raw. It's also super important that you find a pecan you actually like the taste of before roasting. Whether that's a lighter variety or a darker kind, it's totally up to you. Once you've got your pecans selected, we're gonna start with the more savory recipe. It does have just a tad bit of sweetener in it, so if you're a sucker for sweet and savory things, let me give you just a little warning first.
Because they are like crack. I could not stop eating them.
Melt 4 tablespoons of butter in a large bowl. You can also use vegan buttery sticks if you're dairy-free. Add 2 tablespoons of pure maple syrup. A few drops of monk fruit extract can be used if you're on a low-carb diet. 1.5 teaspoons of chili powder. 1 teaspoon of paprika, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, depending on your desired spice level, 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1 to 1 1/4 teaspoon of salt to taste. Whisk ingredients until well combined. Add 1 pound of raw pecans and toss until they are completely coated. Line a large, lightly colored baking sheet with a piece of parchment paper. Spread the pecans out in a single layer. You can skip the parchment paper, but cleanup will be a little bit messier. Bake pecans in preheated 300-degree oven for 25 to 30 minutes. If you're using a darker colored baking sheet, they may be done in less time, so make sure you keep a close eye on them. Toss the pecans halfway through to ensure even roasting. You'll know they're done baking when they have a delightful nutty aroma. Let them cool completely before serving or packaging them up. Spiced pecans will last for up to 2 weeks in an airtight container at room temperature. Oh my gosh, those are so good. And they have just the right amount of spice. But what if your loved one has more of a sweet tooth? Well, these cinnamon and sugar candied pecans are going to be ringing their jingle bells. That sounded really weird, but you know what I mean. For this one, you'll also want to keep your oven at 300 degrees. Grab another large bowl and add 1 large egg white to it. Using a handheld mixer, beat on medium speed for 1 to 2 minutes. You want the egg white to turn from slightly yellow and translucent to white and foamy. Oh man, this recipe reminds me of the very first time I met my husband's family. We had only been dating for like a month, and he surprised me by saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, my parents are coming into town. Would you like to meet them?" So of course I said yes, but I was so nervous. So in my little 24-year-old brain, I was like, why don't I just make them like a batch of pecans with like cinnamon and sugar? I mean, maybe this will be some sort of peace offering. Well, needless to say, 9 years later, boy, I love my in-laws, and every single time I make this recipe, I think of that first time I met them. So at this point, our egg whites should be nice and fluffy and foamy. So now you just want to go ahead and throw in that 1 pound of pecans and toss them in the egg whites until they are completely coated. In a separate medium-sized bowl, combine 1/3 cup of sugar, 1/4 cup of brown sugar. These can both be substituted for all coconut sugar if you'd prefer. 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Mix until well combined. Add cinnamon sugar mixture to the pecans and toss until completely coated. Once again, line a large baking sheet with parchment paper and spread the pecans out evenly onto the pan in a single layer. Bake for 25 to 30 minutes, flipping halfway through to ensure they cook up evenly. You'll know they're done baking when they're slightly toasted and smell delicious. Let them cool completely before serving. Or you can turn them into a cute DIY food gift. To do this, add pecans to a 16-ounce mason jar. Tie a ribbon or a piece of twine around it, along with either the recipe, a gift tag, or even a small ornament. If you want a few more easy recipe ideas, make sure you check out these other DIY food gift ideas. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'll see you in the next one.